Assuming that already, let's say, you sitting here would like also to join our discussion, to ask the questions what are interesting for you. So you can start. I just need to, because it's a strong light here, it's a dark over there. So if anybody of you has a question, just kind of raise a hand. I will pick the question and give you the microphone, and we will continue. Go ahead. Just introduce yourself. Okay.
Yeah, I'm also a student from Serbia, fourth year law student, and I would just like to help you paint a picture, I guess. So can you give us an example of this feeling of community and solidarity among students?
Okay, thank you.
Well, I think we feel that every time we gather together to protest or to do actions that we previously agreed upon, for me at least, I noticed every time when we're protesting, especially when we had that protesting tourism, I don't know how you said it, Nadja, but I think at those protests the most I felt that solidarity and community and connecting with colleagues from different cities and backgrounds. I think it really helps us to learn about ourselves, about other people, to understand, every city, every faculty in different city has different struggles, and also meeting, different cultures as well. I think that's in those moments you feel that union the most, but also every time I see some of our colleagues, colleagues from FADO, their videos are really inspiring and sending a huge message to the world. Every time I see some success from my colleagues in their actions, I just feel incredibly proud to be able to say that I'm, a part of that, of this movement, that I'm a part of this community. And I think, all of us can kind of agree upon that as well.
Sorry, you go.
I think the culmination of it all started when we started walking from one city to another. As Nadja mentioned, those big protests happened in 15 days apart. And in every protest, we started walking from one city to another. It started the 1st of February when Novi Sad happened, and our students walked from Belgrade to Novi Sad. And when you see that kind of energy...
And that's what? That's 100 kilometers or from Belgrade?
100, yeah, 120, yeah. When you see that kind of strength, unity, and when we start greeting each other, waiting for each other, to come, people wait for you, wave, say such strong things, such strong emotions are happening. I think
crying as well. Yeah, remember
crying very much. I think that was the moment when we started feeling like, okay, this is not happening in only our city. This is happening in our country, and we are like standing in wholly in unity. So I think that was the most important part when we said, okay, this is like the unity part that we have.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would like to add that, when you're a student who's blocking in Serbia, whenever you meet another student who's also in blockades or blocking, you're automatically friends. And you help each other out, and especially during those walks, very long walks. I walked from Novi Sad to Belgrade for March 15th, and I got hurt, and everybody helped. And it's not just students with one another, it's also citizens and students and everybody, people crying. And I hugged so many people I don't even know who are crying, and they don't know anyone who's walking, but it's that kind of energy. And then also something we haven't mentioned yet is so many problems we're facing, and so much pressure. So many people got hit by cars, and that was intentional. We stand in silence and we get hit by a car. So whenever something like that happens, or any kind of attack, no matter where in Serbia it happens, in all the cities that day it's going to be a protest. no matter if it happened in Belgrade, in Niš, Kragujevac, no matter where it happened, everywhere is going to be a protest that day to show our solidarity.
Yeah, and I would just to like something else, so to kind of go back to the question, when those, like Angela mentioned, walks and those protests, the big ones in the cities that I mentioned previously, every time I'm there, I feel like among not only students, but other citizens, just our whole society, the empathy is starting to come back, and sympathy for one another, understanding one another. You know, I've never had some, you know, inconvenience or rude interaction with someone. You know, everybody is so open and warm and welcoming, and, you know, if you ask somebody for help or you need, I don't know, a tissue or whatever, they're like, yeah, sure, here, there you go. Everybody is just like, you really do feel like the nation has come together for this one thing and for this one cause that is for the benefit of all of us. And I think that is very important also, that we kind of wake up some previously forgotten values and emotions into people. So it's really important for me to say, so that, you know, you understand and kind of, so I can kind of describe the atmosphere of every protest that has happened so far.
I must say, as somebody who was, I was observing how your movement was developing, and I have studied and in a certain way worked with the movements in many countries, and I have found very smart, if you want, or very strategic, let's say, the way, let's say, how you have utilized these marches, because these marches basically brought you, as far as I can analyze, two things. It brought these kind of the union feeling that, let's say, you are creating the community, collective of the people who are for hours jointly participating in something which is both physically hard and then emotionally very, very fulfilling. Second thing, that's creating a huge visibility for the media, and the third thing, you have just really stepped out of the bubble of the, you know, educated young middle class kids and basically reach to the province, reach to the other cities, and broken down the state of the Vučić control over media, because suddenly he cannot control you because people see you. That it's not only what the TV tell them, but now through their windows, from their doorstep, you can see what is the reality. So that has been extremely strategically smart, if you want. I don't know whether you pick up Gandhi or somebody else but it was very, very smart. Any other further questions from the audience? Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Dasha. I work for an organization supporting activists in Eastern Europe, Central Asia and Caucasus, so a bit east, where we see similar protests as well. And Igor just said about the media, so I wanted to ask you, like, I suppose that in the official media there is not a very favorable picture, but are there any independent media in Serbia, and how they actually report about you? So not social media, this is something else. And the second thing is, it's a second question, that actually what I observe here in Czech media, there is very little about the protests in Serbia. So I cannot ask you why, but I would actually like to ask you what would be your main message for the Czech media.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your questions. So when it comes to media in Serbia, there are only a few media outlets that are actually independent. And they, of course, they don't have those TVs don't have national frequencies, and those are not the ones that, sell the most. I would say that the way they report on it is mostly objective, and I'm very happy and very proud to witness such great journalism in Serbia from independent media. However, the issue is that those journalists that work for those media are getting targeted every day. They get death threats when they go out to report. They're constantly a part of some kind of spins happening in the pro-regime tabloids, and as well as unfortunately radio television of Serbia. So that's kind of, when it comes to media, it's a very, very sad picture. But I don't know, do you guys have any messages you would like to say to Czech media?
Maybe I can ask, have you discussed, what can be something additional and new, some new strategy which you try to do in order to attract more international attention, or you think that it is not so important for you?
Well, I think it's very important. This is why we're here, So this kind of thing is mostly what helps us, getting to Europe, actually. So my kind of a message would be to get to know everything that's happening in Serbia, because it's very hard for us to get to Europe and European media. It's very hard for us to get to Serbian media. So well, because of that, I think the most important thing is for people to see what's really happening and why are we doing what we are doing, because they are calling us that we are getting paid by Europe, and so this is why we are running to Brussels, this is why we're riding to Strasbourg and all those kind of things. So I think action, doing this, coming to other countries and cities, is the most important thing, because I think we made the most of our media coverage as students, So I think action is some kind of thing that's the most important thing right now, and this is what we're doing right now.
Yeah, exactly what Angela mentioned. I think that going to Strasbourg, our colleagues have biked to there, and then other colleagues have run to Brussels. Sorry. I think that did a lot to kind of promote our student movement, and also humanize us, because I think there are certain stereotypes about Balkan people, Balkan countries into the European media that I would say those came before even some of us were born. So it's also a good way to show that we are real people, real students who are protesting, who are doing all those actions, biking, running, walking. And I think it was really great, all of those actions, because those people from Europe and all of the countries they have been to have seen us, flesh and blood, have seen the work, have seen, the injuries they had, and, their bikes and their, all of the effort that they have put into really sending the message outside of our region and into not just Europe, but hopefully also the world. And I think even with those actions and panels like this, discussions, it's important to get the message out. I wouldn't say it's hard to get to the media, but it's hard to show the media why is this important and why should all of the people hear about this, because you never know what can happen next, maybe even in your own country. I hope it doesn't, but you never know. And I think that it can also be used to inspire people and to show them that even in maybe harder situations than yours is, you can also do something and take action for the sake of your life and your family and close friends, and generally just for your country.
I would also like to add that although we have, I got 2 independent televisions on my mind, they're not playing on the national frequency. So that means that people who don't support us don't even have the chance to watch it, not even by accident. They just don't have it on their TVs, and that's very sad. So it's complete media blackout, but I guess my friends will talk about it later.
Go ahead, Neja.
Sorry. I would just like to add that our main message throughout this is that their hands are stained with blood and that corruption kills. And that we really hope to inspire everyone outside of our country to do the exact same thing if they need to do it.
You know, I've stepped for a second from the role of the moderator in my kind of usual head, being activist and being kind of somebody who is always organizing something. Think about organizing the student summer camp and invite students from other countries to visit you in your student camp. Make that camp on some interesting place. Not in terms of the nature, but politically, socially interesting place, and maybe people will come. And if students from other countries come, media will follow them. They will be interested what's happening with their students, and you have immediately all European media covering you. The other possibility, you know, your movement has been very creative. You have started on a drama art, so approach the creative faculties around Europe and invite people to do the workshops in Serbia with your student, and again, you bring them, and the media follows them. Let me, I will again give you opportunity for the questions, but you know, let me read the quote from one smart gentleman man. He is the part of the Serbian ruling party. He said, "These students are anarcho-terrorists. They are fake commie intellectuals. They are pseudo-elites. They are social scum. We need to clean them from our streets. We need to clean them from our society." So this is the kind of the rhetoric which the government is using against the young, talented, educated, you know, well-intended people in their own society. What sort of the provocations you have faced? If you can give us just some examples of the type of the provocations what the government is using against you, and then the next question will be what sort of the repression and police or the other types of the violence you have faced and how you are dealing with the provocations and with the violence.
Okay, so first I would like to add that these things that they say about us, they don't trigger us. That's their way of speaking, their way of communication. We don't want to drop to their level. We are above the situation. And about provocations, I think the biggest provocation is they use brutal force. Police uses brutal force against us students who have always demonstrated non-violently, peacefully. So we stand in silence, and then they use a sonic cannon, or they send a car to run us over, and the driver is almost always someone close to the leading party. And I think that's the biggest provocation. Something else they did is that our professors haven't been paid for 2 months because of their support for students. So the professors who because there's no classes right now because we're blockading, they changed the ratio of the science work and the class work so that science work is like 10% because they can work in science and projects without teaching classes. They can work that from home or from their labs, and they put that to 10% and classes to 90% so that they would get like, I don't know, 30 euros is what father of a friend of mine who is a university professor got paid in March. And I think that's a provocation, and they want to divide our professors from us so that our professors go and say we don't have money, let us back, we want classes, but I don't think they succeeded. It was a lame try, rather.
So as well as that, there's being targeted by the pro-regime media. You know, it's just straight up lies that they're saying about people. For example, they said about me that I'm the leader of the protest, that I have an affair with my professor, and et cetera, that I'm pushing
You're in a fight with former leader of the blockades also. You saw her in the movie,
yeah,
Mila.
Mila, you saw her.
Yeah.
She was the one who sent the original article to me and said, okay, I know a lawyer, here's his number, and et cetera, but then also people getting run over by cars, getting beat up, and it's only becoming worse and worse. We're witnessing extreme police brutality. People are getting beat up, and not just students, not just us, our professors are getting beat up by police.
And this beating is happening on the streets, or people are picked up and put in a detention center and then beaten in a detention center, or it's happening both on the streets and in a detention centers?
It's happening both. So we witnessed Ilya Kostic, an older gentleman from Novi Sad, get arrested for no reason, and then getting taken into custody and getting beat up so badly that he had to have one of his body parts removed. And then a lot of these beatings are happening in the street. And then we have political prisoners in Serbia in 21st century. The people you saw on this film today, the first male voice you heard, his name is Lazar Dinic, and he has been in detention for over 60 days now for no reason. He did nothing. What he's being accused of, he didn't do. That's not what happened. And he's one of the 6 people who have been in detention for over 60 days now. And then 6 more people are in Croatia and they cannot come back to the country. And 2 of those other 6 are Mila and Bane that you saw here, and we really miss them. But what's happening right now as we're speaking is that in Belgrade, in Niš, and in Novi Sad, people are blocking, what's the word for that? Sud?
Court.
Like the main courts, because they're trying to get those 6 people released from prison. And this morning, they got beat up by police. A lot of people you saw today on this video got beat up by police today. They got pepper sprayed. They got, so the police threw tear gas at them. And those are our friends. And then, you know, you sit and watch all of that while you're here and you just want to go back and help them. So I think that's one of the most important things, you know, today.
Yeah, just to kind of clarify on why Lazar and other 5 people are, arrested. They're arrested because our intelligence agency has, illegally recorded their private conversations. So, they're being arrested for what they said, but the people our intelligence agency, which recorded them illegally and without them knowing, basically, I'd say, bugged them, but I'm not sure if that's the correct term. They're not being accused of anything, and, they're still doing their jobs, they're still in their positions, so that's also another aspect of, and another thing, and what's happening, and how our leading government and ruling party and this regime is trying to also kind of put pressure on us and, divide us and kind of tear us apart in the most physical way.
Yeah, so, sorry, I just need to clarify it further for a second, that they're not being accused for what they said, but for what you could think that they meant by saying that. And then also that illegal recording was played on radio television of Serbia. Where did a public media service get an illegally recorded conversation? That is,
Any other questions from the audience? Yeah, please.
Hello, I am Nina from Tbilisi, Georgia, and I have so many questions, but I will maybe narrow. Yeah. maybe narrow down to a few of them. First of all, I wanted to ask you, make a small comment that every time you make a big protest, it's like very well covered in Georgian online media, and we take it as a healthy competition and an inspiration that we also need to increase the number of protesters and organize some big gatherings as well. I wonder, but I also see some kind of differences in our protests. As I understand, protests in Serbia are mostly student protests, student-led protests. I wonder what you are doing to make it involve your parents and older generations, or maybe that's not a strategy at all. That would be my first question. The second one would be, if you also watch what's happening in other countries like Georgia, for example, and how you interpret, do you maybe for us, for example, we see that it's what we do in Tbilisi, in Georgia, it's beyond our local protest, but it's part of one big regional global resistance towards Russian influence. Maybe is that what you also how you see the situation, or you are mostly more thinking that it's local and something country level? That would be my two questions for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina.
I can answer if none of the colleagues would. Okay. Can you repeat the first question?
The first question has been kind of bringing other social economic groups. So there's bringing parents, bringing other people, not just the
well, it
students.
is like they said in the movie. We do kind of the pooling movement here. We do. We first took actions, and from then on, every time we go out to protest, we always call for citizen support, and we also always let them know that this is not just students' fight, but everyone's fight. We all live in this country. We all face the same issues. Therefore, they're also your issues, and this is also your fight. And that has worked pretty good. And as the time moved on, we started also talking to other social economical groups like our farmers. They came so from all over Vojvodina. They came with their tractors and machines to help us, even secure the protest even more, because as my colleagues mentioned, we were getting beaten up, run over with cars, and police just doesn't react the way they're supposed to. For example, the bikers also as well. Then the lawyers also support us, and they have started wanted to strike. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our also teachers and professors, like the educational workers as well. They kind of, I would say, supported us from the day one, since all of our professors from our faculties and universities mostly support us. And that kind of happened as we realized we, students on our own, we can, start and kind of lead and pull energy and people into action, but we can't do everything on our own. We are still, young and inexperienced in many life, aspects, and especially in the political, lawful one. So we realized that we also need help from other groups, but also the citizens, and also we have kind of led them to, gave them the idea to also self-organize through assemblies. Yes. So in each town you would have for every part of the city you have the assembly of that neighborhood, and that's kind of how people started organizing themselves and also having their own actions. So there are student protests and actions, but there are also assemblies, actions and protests, and things that they're doing in order to kind of help our movement and continue the fight and bring it into their spheres of life. And I think that has really helped a lot and has, you know, some really positive outcome for everybody. Because, like I said, we can't do this all on our own. We don't have, you know, all of the not just resources in like material way, but also in like experience, like I mentioned before. Maybe second question, somebody else.
We also talked to syndicates, and I think just people have been waiting on this for a very long time, so it was not that hard to activate them. And some of them initiated it on their own, some of them we had to ask, but in general, it hasn't been that hard. And then when it comes to, you know, politics and other stuff, I would say that initially it was a local thing, but we cannot, you know, we cannot speak for all citizens of Serbia, you know, how this is going to turn out or what's going to come out. We kind of need to, you know, regulate it on a local level first, and then we can move further.